Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank all of you for being here today. I appreciate it. We talked a little bit about this, Mr. Simmons, when you were in my office yesterday, I guess it was. But I want to kind of get all four of your opinions on it. And what it's about is concentration in the ag industry. And I know you guys don't deal with all of it. I think Justice deals with the commodities portion. But you do deal with fertilizer and chemicals, the way I understand it. And just for your reference, so you know, 80% of the beef in this country is basically, the market's controlled by 4 companies. 60% pork, 50% chicken. That's not what I would call very capitalistic in my book, and makes me want to dig Teddy Roosevelt up and bring him back to life. But nonetheless, I want to know from each one of you if you think it's a problem, number one. And if you do think it's a problem, what can be done about it, if anything? Is the toothpaste out of the tube and we're just hosed, or is this something we can actually do something about? So I'm going to start with you, Joseph,
Joe.
sorry.
Joe, you call me Joe.
John's a good name too, but
yeah.
Joe's good.
Yeah, John's a really good name
Yeah,
too, exactly.
so
yeah.
just go ahead and shoot, and if you think it's a problem, say yes, tell me what we can do about it.
No, well, so one of the things we talked about that earlier on in the hearing today is doing a merger retrospective program to see if we have been too lax in our enforcement. Mm-hmm. And so one of the areas we might focus on, or probably would focus on, would be the ag area. So if you find out you're too lax, does the Syngenta Chem China situation, does it have some impacts on that? Yes, sure. Like any mergers that would come ahead in the future would be subject to, or not subject to, but would be informed. Our analysis would be informed by the merger retrospective.
Okay, but any mergers that's happened in the past, that's done, deal.
Generally, that's generally the case.
Okay.
The other thing too is that not only could the current situation be a result of a consolidation, it could also be the result of anti-competitive unilateral practices, and we could look at those too. And that if there were such cases, instances of that, then what we would hopefully be able to do is to get an injunction, prohibit those anti-competitive practices, and maybe that would make the market more competitive going forward.
Briefly, do you guys see it the same way? Go ahead.
Yes, I do, Senator.
Okay.
Yes, Senator.
Yep.
I would just add that the ability for people to sustain a livelihood in agriculture, making sure that barriers to entry that are not illegal is critical.
Yeah. Well, I would just tell you that, and we talked about this a little bit, Joe, that at my school, 40 kids in my graduating class was isn't very big. It's been a long time ago now, 40 years ago. Now the whole damn school's got 40 kids in it. And we've seen that kind of depopulation across rural America. Now I want to ask you about another issue. And by the way, I hope you're able to do that, because I think when it comes to competition in the marketplace, whether it's selling it or whether it's the inputs you're putting on the crop, it is critically important. It's just, it'll do away with family farm agriculture, and I'll tell you what, if family farm agriculture goes away, this country changes and not for the better. That's just my 2 bits. I was sitting in a Homeland Security meeting the other day. It wasn't classified, and my phone rang, and I thought, gosh, it's a 202 number. I better take it, and it was a telemarketer, okay? And I guess I shouldn't have taken it, but it could have been something important, and it wasn't. It was a nuisance. And I think we have far too many of these, and we have failed in this regard. So how can we stop this garbage from going on? I got to tell you, I mean, I don't ask them to call me, they call me. If I want to buy a hotel room, I'll call them, okay? So how do we stop this?
Yes, Senator. I think the original do not call rule was good at the initiation, but it's been overtaken by technological developments, and it doesn't work anymore, as we all experience. And so I think the answer is it's probably a technological solution. And I know that the FTC and the FCC are having conversations and working to explore that type of solution.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that about some great ideas? So when I get calls, it's from somebody that it.
Well,
meant to call me and not just call a number?
There are software solutions that are effective to a certain degree. I haven't tried them myself,
But I'm 61. That doesn't work.
Yeah, well, you have children?
Yeah,
have
I
children?
got kids. I got my
Yeah.
grandkids could probably handle it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Anybody else want to comment on the do not call stuff?
Senator, I'll comment. I'd associate myself with what Mr. Simon said. There's no question that this needs to be a priority for us.
Okay, good. Right behind the ag competition. Right?
Right behind there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's a priority, but I'm worried about the resources and tools to solve it. And I think if we need more, we need to come to you and ask for it.
Amen, brother. I mean, you guys got a job to do. If you don't have the dough to do it, we can't hold you accountable. So please do. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.